Welcome to another episode of BizJet TV. My name is Fabrizio Poli. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the crisis of the jet cards and what's driving this trend. But before we start, I just want to point out my recent article just came out in Avbuyer magazine. It's just arrived today. It's the magazine we write, Avbuyer magazine, every month. Great article here. My interview I did with Grant Cardone, which you can see here on BizJet TV. You can click on the link below, which will drive you to the article on the Avbuyer website. You can read the article electronically, and then you can click at the bottom of the article and we'll drive you to the interview I did with Grant Cardone. Grant's a billionaire. He'll tell the story of how he went from basically no aeroplane in 2015 to now owning a G650ER and taking his business from like $250 million to $4 billion, and the result and the key in driving that business from where it was to where it is today has been private jet ownership. So very, very interesting article. So I encourage you to have a read of our Avbuyer magazine. It's also a great website to go on to where you can get lots of resources about private jets. But today's episode, very interesting. And what sort of gave me the idea of this is some interesting news. There's a website called Private Jet Card Comparisons, and they ran a survey just recently amongst their various clients, 450 different clients that they have there, and a lot of these people have jet cards. Now, 51% of the business aircraft users plan to use private aviation more this year, so that's really good news. But 41% said they're going to fly the same, and only 5% are going to fly less. There's a good 51% more people now, the people that are always using private, are going to fly more this year. So that's really, really interesting piece of news. Now, the reason why they fly private, convenience of flying private, obviously, poor airline service, which has happened as a result of COVID, and we've talked about this before, connectivity, of course, not only connectivity internet-wise, but also connectivity being able to fly point to point instead of having to go, via B to get from A to C. And of course, COVID concerns. So health, that's another reason why people fly private these days. Now, the problems that the industry is facing right now, and a lot of these people that have booked, flights, because they have a jet card with the company, and on the jet card they probably have 100 hours and that. And so they ring up to book a flight. And there's been quite a few problems because the demand has been higher. And we already know that. And we know that this year it's going to go even higher. There's been labour shortages, and the labour shortages, in particular in the pilot space, and also in the engineer space, because the airlines were faced, not only the airlines, but also some of the private jet charter companies were faced with problems during COVID, and they had all these people on their payroll. What they did is they looked at those who were like 55, 56 years old and whatever, and they offered them early retirement. And a lot of these guys took early retirement. Now, the problem is that, people are flying more than they were before, private, I'm saying. The airlines have started to resume some of the flights, and they don't have enough pilots. They don't have enough engineers. And so, of course, this, disrupts the roster. And so the airplanes, need pilots. They need engineers to fix the airplanes and to keep the airplanes going. And they need pilots to fly them. And there's a labour shortage. Now, 44% of these flights suffered delays or even cancellations. 79% of the flights were actually late. 41% said that the provider of the service had to change the time, and 30% could not even, satisfy the flight. So they couldn't do the flight. So this is quite a big disruption. So if you've, put money into a jet card and you suddenly need to go from LA to New York on a business trip, and you ring up and you need a plane tomorrow morning and you want to leave at a certain time because you've got a meeting or a conference you need to speak at or whatever it may be, you want to be able to leave at a certain time. And you want to be able to have an airplane available. There's a lot of disruption going on. So interestingly enough, the trend in the jet card industry was that usually the renewal rate is around about 90%. But the renewal rate now has fallen from 90% to 54%. And 46% of people are now leaving the jet card deals, and they're actually moving into either private jet ownership or leasing a jet. Because if you lease a jet, you have it available 24/7 and exclusively for you. So this is kind of the trend. And the reason that this is happening is because you put all this money to buy these hours on your jet card, and you ring up and you're not going to get the plane. You might either won't find a plane on the day that you need it, or you won't be able to leave at the time you need to leave, or they'll say, yes, we can leave 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then suddenly there's a delay. And so those numbers are causing the renewal rate to go from 90% to 54%, because people need to move. They need to move quickly, and the jet card solution is not providing the efficiency that it used to provide. And this is, COVID has caused this. You always have to look at the root cause of things, the labour shortages and the higher demand. And these are what's happening. So if you are interested in buying a private jet or leasing a private jet, it's always a good idea to get on a call. You can go to orvilleaviation.com and on the website there's a button there. It takes you to a page you need to fill in and answer some questions. And then we'll evaluate if to put you on a call with myself or one of my team. And we can go through the specifics of your case and find out more about your business, your needs for travel, where you're going to go, how many people traveling, all that kind of good stuff. And that way we can figure out a solution tailored for you. And this is really, really important because every case is different. We can only offer general information here on BizJet TV, but if you haven't been on this channel before, I encourage you to subscribe. Go and have a look at the other videos, and that's over 400 videos on here. Also, click on the link below, which will drive you to my page with Avbuyer magazine. There's all my articles on there. Again, Avbuyer is a great resource, so I do encourage you to go there too. But ultimately, you really want to do a one-to-one call. And by the way, that first call is free. So I'd be really looking forward to speaking to you. And that's all from Fabrizio Poli on BizJet TV. And remember to click on this interview I did with Grant Cardone. And that's an interesting one. And there'll be more interviews with private jet owners coming in the next few weeks. That's all from Fabrizio Poli on BizJet TV. And I'll see you on the next one.